Welcome to Dr. Balaga's God Knowledge Doc podcast, your quick dive into the latest medical breakthroughs to keep you ahead of the curve. Let's get started. Today is August 23rd, 2025. This video is on a paper published in European Heart Journal yesterday, 22nd August 2025, titled Sex and Depot-Specific Adiposity as a Driver of Cardiovascular Aging. Obesity is linked to premature cardiovascular aging via inflammation, fibrosis, and metabolic disruption. Gender differences in fat distribution affect cardiovascular risk. Men accumulate visceral fat, women more gluteofemoral fat. Visceral fat contributes to systemic inflammation. Gynoid fat may be protective. So the study cohort comprised of 21,241 UK biobank participants, aged 40 to 69, both genders. Cardiac MRI, whole body MRI, and DEXA scans were assessed for fat distribution. Machine learning model was used to predict cardiovascular aging from 126 image-derived phenotypes to compute age delta. Age delta is predicted cardiovascular age minus chronological age. Statistical analysis included multivariable linear regression, gender stratified, Cox models, and Mendelian randomization. What were the findings? They found that visceral adipose tissue was associated with aging, p-value 0.0001. Muscle fat infiltration also associated with a p-value of 0.0003. Liver fat, p-value less than 0.0001. Gynoid fat was protective in women, p-value 0.0011. Android fat and subcutaneous abdominal fat harmful in men only. Limitations of the study: cross-sectional design, no causal inference over time, predominantly white population, limited external validation. Key takeaways: fat distribution, not just quantity, influences cardiovascular aging. Gynoid fat is protective in women. Visceral fat is equivalent to pro-aging in both genders. Machine learning-derived cardiovascular age is a promising biomarker. It supports targeted therapies, example GLP-1 receptor agonist, physical activity, hormone replacement therapy. Way back in 1998, we published a paper where I was a co-author, this is a paper in the UK, which was published in Atherosclerosis Thrombosis Vascular Biology, ATVB, and we found that abdominal obesity it was found in families with premature myocardial infarction. In South Asians, particularly the British Indian Asians from the Sikh community. A recent survey published in the Lancet from India showed that 40% of the women in India had a prevalence of abdominal obesity, and only 12% of the men. There are 350 million people with abdominal obesity in India. Some of the named concepts and eponyms related to abdominal obesity: the Jean-Weig syndrome, attributed to Frenchman Jean-Weig. He first described android or central obesity as atherogenic in 1947. Gerald Reaven syndrome or syndrome X, Jerry Reaven from Stanford, described insulin resistance plus the central obesity cluster. The Jared Phillips hypothesis: gynoid fat is protective, key proponent of regional adiposity impact. Herman Holler coined the term metabolic syndrome, linked visceral fat to endothelial dysfunction and vascular aging. Harvey Cushing described Cushing syndrome, which is truncal obesity. Steen-Leventhal syndrome, polycystic ovarian syndrome with central adiposity and androgen excess in women. And finally, Pickwickian syndrome, central obesity with hypoventilation, extreme android obesity. It'll be interesting to look at central obesity and visceral obesity and cardiovascular aging in other populations too. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with your colleagues. When we change how we see disease, we change how we shape lives. Until next time, stay curious, stay compassionate, and keep seeking wisdom. Podcast brought to you by Master MedFacts at mastermedfacts.com.